to the Hodge Podcast. I'm your host, Steve Hodge, and joining me as always is my co-host, cousin, and lover, Kevin Hodge.
Hello, everybody.
We are late again this week. We're not good at this.
I will take responsibility for this one. I decided to go to Chicago to help move some shit in at my brother-in-law's place. Isaac, if you're listening, hey, how's it going? Your place is cool.
Tisk, Kevin.
But I think we'll get back into a more normal rhythm going forward, probably. Maybe.
Hopefully, maybe.
That could be a complete lie. I have no idea. But we're still getting it up. You know, if this goes up tonight, we're still getting, an episode up each week for the most part. So,
For the most part. Why are you looking at, puppies? My dogs are looking at me. Anyway, we'll get into it. First, I guess, just before we get into our topic, we only really have one thing that's worth mentioning. Well, I guess two things, but one of them is worth mentioning because we don't know anything about it. The CMT Awards apparently happened, and the CMA Fest, which actually is a little better because they actually have good artists sometimes perform at that on the side stages rather than the stadiums where they have all like the mainstream artists perform. But the CMT Awards happened. Neither me nor Kevin or anyone who respects this genre of music watched it. So
yep.
I don't know who. I legitimately don't know who won. I didn't even look up the winners. All I remember was seeing that. I just remember seeing that Luke Bryan perform with Jason Derulo. That's all.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I looked up the winners just to see, if there was going to be anything that I would want to talk about. But then when I opened up the winners and I was scrolling through and it was I want to say Keith Urban won 3 things. And then it was Luke Bryan, Jason Aldean. It was all the shit that you would expect all the time that I would not care about at all was what had won, and so I got off of that page about as quickly as I opened it, and so I have no idea who actually won, but I feel pretty confident saying that it was just garbage.
I don't know, nor do I care. It's, yeah.
As far as the award shows go, I still get the ACMs and the CMAs mixed up because I don't know what either one really is. I know ACMs is Academy of Country Music, but then the CMT Awards, that's the CMT, the channel, and so they're even more, they're even more stupid and terrible because they have a bunch of categories that are about music videos.
Yeah, but Tyler Farr's about to get a reality show, so they'll probably have Best Country Star reality show soon.
Exactly. So it's stupid awards like that shit too, on top of trying to give out real awards. So that of all the ones that we already don't care about, that's the stupidest of all the award shows. So definitely was not going to watch that.
Yeah, we didn't watch that. So we don't have to talk about it anymore. We'll move on. Yeah, I get it. Well, the only thing that's really happened outside of it was CMA Fest, where they actually have a lot of artists go and perform, and they usually get actual good ones. Obviously, in the Tennessee Titans field, I don't remember what it's called. They have the big names perform in the stadium, and then they have all these stages just kind of set up throughout Nashville.
Speaking of Nashville, that's actually a thing that we can talk about briefly, that somehow every country star is now all of a sudden a Nashville Predators fan.
Oh my god.
Carrie Underwood is the only one that's allowed to be a Predators fan because she's married to a Nashville Predator, Mike Fisher. And so she has every time they put a camera on her, I'm yeah, that makes sense. She probably goes to most of the games throughout the year anyway, and so her being at the finals totally makes sense. But then they had Alan Jackson perform before the the first home game that they had or something like that, and he was wearing
Rodney Atkins did a concert.
Yeah. And so I obviously I love Alan Jackson, but I just thought it was funny that he was he's wearing all the Predator stuff because he's obviously playing before it, but then it was all of the social media and stuff was all these country artists who are Predators fans now, and then that was the hot thing for all of the country stars to do would tweet about the Predators and Let's Go Preds and all that stuff. And I'm like, how is that? Like, none of you probably cared about hockey at all anyway. Like, you always all brag about being from the South and, you know, small towns and shit. So you definitely didn't play hockey growing up.
Yeah, so they were all Atlanta. So they're all Atlanta Thrasher fans.
Exactly. Well, they should all be Winnipeg Jets fans now. So what the hell?
Yeah. But no, the one that I kind of laughed at, it was probably or even early in the playoffs. I don't even know if it was the finals, where it was like Thomas Rhett posted a photo of like him, Brett Eldridge, and I don't know, a couple others or something at one of the games, and everyone's wearing Pred stuff except Brett Eldridge because he is a very public Chicago fan.
I was gonna say, when you started talking, you said Brett Eldridge. I'm like, if you say that Brett Eldridge wasn't wearing a Blackhawks uniform, I will be very upset.
He wasn't wearing a Blackhawks uniform, but he wasn't wearing any Pred stuff. I think he had like one of the towels that they give out or whatever, but that's obviously they just get that at the game. But yeah, it was really funny. He wasn't wearing anything because he's obviously a very public Cubs fan.
Yeah, I guess it would make sense for Thomas Rhett to be a Predators fan if he's a hockey fan, because him being the child of a country, performer, he probably did grow up in the Nashville area, if I had to guess. Again, for anyone who doesn't listen regularly or is tuning in for the first time, we don't do real research, so all of this is conjecture and opinion. So I don't know where Thomas Rhett grew up. I have no idea. But seeing as though he's the child of Red Aikens, I imagine he grew up around Nashville. So I'll give him a pass, too. That's a fair one to give. However, I still don't believe that any person would really care about Nashville, sports. If they're a performing artist, they probably care more about, performing music. And the Predators, I mean, they've been making the playoffs the last couple of years, but this year's the first year they made that jump. So the fact that they're all on that wagon now is a little suspect. Yeah,
it's pretty dumb. But that actually, I don't know, that just reminded me of, I saw an article, it was just like, you should support, I want a girl who supports her man like Lauren supports Thomas Rhett, and I started laughing. I was like, I understand that they're high school sweethearts, and they probably obviously are genuinely in love and married and stuff, but don't act like she was like in love with him from nothing, because he's been rich his entire life.
Exactly. Like, I don't care about his music enough to know anything about his personal life beyond the fact that just knowing that they had started dating when they were in high school. But yeah, like when he was in high school, he was still the child of Red Aikens, living in a big ass McMansion and probably performing music at that time. And everyone, you can read between the lines. You can see a long-term investment there right in front of your eyes.
Yeah, like obviously they're probably very much in love, but the fact that people are like, she's supporting him through everything, it's like he's been rich his whole life. He has nothing to worry about.
Because for every one of those situations, you also have the Jason Aldean cheats on his wife and divorces her once he becomes famous, so that he can marry some other hot chick that he was cheating on his wife with. So there's also that.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, anyway. I have nothing else really newsworthy or rant-worthy.
I don't recall seeing any hashtag triggering whiskey riff articles or saving country music articles that I need to yell at the mic about. So if anyone's listening and they saw something that they think that I would freak out about, please send it over to us, and I will gladly yell at the mic next week.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so before we get into the topic, anyone who's tuning in just now for what the topic is and what we're talking about and whatnot, we just kind of started this podcast because we wanted to talk about artists who are unknown or artists who are known who have songs that are kind of unknown, that deserve the spotlight more than they get, because obviously some people who listen to the mainstream only, or like to the radio only, they only hear like the songs that they're told to hear. So we like talking about like the deep cuts in albums and stuff. So that's what we're going to do this week with Justin Moore, who's our topic. Yep. And another thing, we don't do research on people, so if we're wrong, don't write, or you can write into us yelling at us saying we're dumb and getting everything wrong. I don't really care, but we don't do like this in-depth research on everyone. We don't
do research.
We're not
beyond
biographers.
Like beyond like a Wikipedia search, and we're also not like super well-known people who could have met these people, so we also don't know them personally, so we can't.
Everyone knows us, Kevin.
Blah, he's super nice. Oh yeah, no, we're getting out there. But yeah, no, it's not like we're going to be like, oh yeah, Justin Moore, when we met him that one time, he was super cool and telling us about that one time he did whatever. Like, no, we are going to talk about his music because that's all we know, and like you were saying, with Justin Moore being a person that a lot of people know a lot about, at least of late. But he's one guy that, from our perspective of listening to music, like he, grew. What was it, like 2008 was when his first album came out? I should probably have that pulled up so I can more accurately say that. But he started releasing music when, we were a little younger, and listened to a lot of his music when it first came out, when he wasn't that well known. So he kind of fits in that mold of someone we'd want to try to break apart some of his albums to try to talk about some of these lesser known songs, because he's been charting consistently lately with these newer albums, but if that's all you listen to, you probably don't know much about his first album or his second album.
Yeah, though you mean the albums back when he actually kind of wrote his own music?
Yes, exactly. When he used to write his own music, granted, and we'll get into it more, when he did write all of his own music, it was just as laundry listy as, when he's not writing his own music, but at least he was writing his own music, and I guess just kind of felt a little bit more authentic. This is actually a thing that I wanted to make sure I brought up. When I was re-listening to his stuff over the past couple days to get like prepared for this pod, I was like listening through his first album, and he's got a lot of songs that are like super, laundry list type, and kind of your traditional break into country music by saying, I'm a country boy and I like, dirt roads, trucks, and beer,
I go
like
to
all
Walmart.
those other things. Exactly. But the one thing that I felt, and maybe it's just because I remember listening to that, back when I was in high school and also lived in a small town, but it felt like more authentic, and the fact that he wrote the songs is kind of like, when he talks about, really liking being on a back road and then like his parents, like his grandpa's farm, it's like, I believe him. Like, I believe that he's just like a total redneck who does
just
love
listen to him
stuff.
talk, he's from bumfuck nowhere.
Exactly. But then when he releases, like, once you get to like album like 5 and it's all the same music and he's no longer writing all of the stuff, then it feels whatever.
Once you get to album 3.
Well, basically, once you've released a bunch of albums and it's all got the same sort of laundry list stuff, it just feels like, even though it's already like cookie cutter shit to begin with, at least when you're writing it, it feels a little bit more relatable because you're controlling it.
It comes from you.
Exactly. So when he's singing a song about, in the backwoods, like, I believe that he's legitimately writing that from the perspective of like when he was just having a bunch of field parties growing up, getting drunk in the field. Like, I believe him there. But now that he's, super famous and touring all the time, and he's still got songs that are like that, it's like, okay, you now sound very pandering-y, and it's no longer as acceptable to have so many laundry list songs.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so we don't really have to go. I mean, we can go kind of through his. We don't have to go like track by track, but we can kind of go through his CDs of like. His first 2 were the ones that we were huge fans of, even though Saving Country Music called Outlaws Like Me like the worst CD ever up until Florida Georgia Line released their last CD, and then he called that the worst CD of all time. And then we just kind of fell off with Off the Beaten Path because that was that CD that had that fucking song where he talks about his girlfriend's butt or something and how it reminds him of Kim Kardashian or whatever. And it was just like,
it a mix between like J-Lo and Kim Kardashian, and it's just like, as soon as you hear that line, you're like, oh God, come on. And I mean, and that whole album too, like, it did have a feel to it that it was like, all right, he's taking the step to just total mainstream, trying to get out there and just totally Nashville, totally mainstream. I mean, it felt that way throughout his first 2 albums, but with Off the Beaten Path, I really felt like this was that's where he's like, yep, nope, this is going to be me. This is going to be my career path. That for the rest of it, this is it.
Off the beaten path, actually, that like I was leading up to this, I was listening to or like kind of looking at old reviews and all this kind of stuff with his albums, and Saving Country Music's with Off the Beaten Path. He talked about how it like starts off pretty good with Old Back in the New School or whatever, where he talks about like, hey, yeah, you can make things new, but try and keep it a little old school too. And then he's just like, oh, that's a great song, and then it goes into these just terrible songs where it's just like, well, I guess he forgot what he said in the first song.
Yeah, the thing that I thought was kind of funny too is like, so when we decided that Justin Moore was going to be who we did this week, I was thinking in my head like, oh, it's going to be nice to re-listen to the first CD, it's just the self-titled Justin Moore, and then Outlaws Like Me, and like re-listen to those albums because I remember liking them almost start to finish when they had first come out, and I was like, oh, it's going to be great to listen through those again, talk about how his first two albums, in my opinion, were really good, and then he kind of went down, started to slide. But then, as I was re-listening to both of those albums, I really realized that there's a lot more shitty songs on the first two albums than I remember. So it's not they're not nearly as good as I remembered them to be. But then, so I said 2008. It was actually 2009 for that first album. Sorry about that, everyone. There's going to be a random break that probably is not going to make a whole lot of sense just before now, but our recording had a bit of a technical difficulty where the mic I'm using to communicate with Steve died, and so it became all fucked up.
Because he doesn't like plugging things in.
Exactly. Why would I do that?
Anyway,
all right. But what I was getting at was just that I listened through the first couple albums and realizing how many songs that weren't that good, but I still give them a certain amount of credit in terms of like being not as bad, in my opinion, because when they came out in 2009 for the first album, and then in 2011 for the second one. So in 2011, I was no longer living at home, but I was my first year in college. But I was living in a small town, a town of 4,000 when this first one came out, and I was in high school. And so when those songs came out, I could still be an obnoxious high schooler and be like, yeah, small town USA, love that shit. And so that's why they're not I liked them so much back then. I can recognize now that there's a lot of shitty songs on these first two albums, but I'm still giving them a pass in a sense, because when we start to do our top 5 breakdown, I'll kind of talk about that more. But it's when these came out, they still they're pandering laundry list songs, but I was kind of able to relate to the pandering.
Yeah, well, I remember even then, still, I was in the kind of the minority of every time the song Beta Hook came on, I was like, this song fucking sucks. I never liked that song. That's
one that now I definitely don't like because it's really stupid. But I did, for the longest time, very much enjoy that song because I was like, yeah, I know how to Beta Hook.
Oh, I remember even when we saw... when we saw the More and More Church concert, Justin Moore, Kip Moore, and Eric Church, he opened with Guns, and I remember us being like, yeah, Guns! And then I was just looking back, I was like, that song is also god-awful.
Yeah, that's not a very good song. I still do like it in a certain sense. I don't know if it's a song that I will re-listen to a lot, but, I mean, I'm that kind of obnoxious conservative when it comes to that point, so I still get behind him there. And the fact that his backdrop was a giant NRA country sign, so I was like, yeah.
Even though
I can definitely, yeah, oh yeah. But at the time I was still like, yeah, this is perfect. But I can 100% get behind that being a dumb song, for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's bad. But, yeah, so I guess the other thing we could say before we get into the top 5 is I remember back when he released his first CD, like, he wrote almost all the songs off it. Outlaws Like Me, he wrote like half. Off the Beaten Path, he wrote a couple, and then Kinda Don't Care, he wrote literally one. I remember hearing about this. I mean, who knows? I might be making this up in my mind, but I'm pretty sure it happened when his first CD came out. It was probably right around when like Small Town USA was going #1 because everyone's like, "Who's this guy? He's coming out of nowhere," type thing. And I remember hearing like an interview with him. He was talking about how when he first got to Nashville, no one wanted to write for him. There's like, this guy's just a, redneck who, ain't singing very well or whatever. Like, he's not going to go anywhere. So instead of sitting around waiting like, hey, someone write for me, he just started writing his own songs. And that's another reason why I like even the pandering songs off that one, is because it's like, he wrote them all to prove to himself, like, no, I can be a country artist. Like, listen to me. Like, I can do this, even though he has some bad ones on that one too. But
exactly.
But yeah, I just remember because I had like the respect for him for that. Like, he just kind of was like, no, just I can do this. Like, I don't care if you're not going to write for me. I'm going to make it. So I did like that for him back in the day.
Yeah.
But
and that's what I was saying with even though it's pandering, I still like respect it because it feels a little more like legit when he's writing them himself. Like, even for it being like a debut or a sophomore album, and it's still coming from him, even though it's the laundryless nature. Like we said, like, he definitely seems like he is a hardcore redneck. So it's not as much pandering when like that actually was his life as he was growing up. Yeah. So like he does get a little bit of a pass, and so like you said, like, I do respect the hell out of him for saying, screw it, I'm going to write these myself because I know I can, and I'll show you guys.
Yeah, I'm sure people will call us out for being hypocrites for saying that. Like, oh, well, we'll let these laundry list songs pass, but not those other ones. But, whatever.
Yeah, well, also, whatever came out when I was in high school and I liked when I was in high school, I'm still going to like at least a little bit. Like, there's certain ones I will just swear off completely, but, if it's not, because at least two, like, the sound of it is still country, in the first two albums.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It's 100% country with just kind of stupid words. And that is more okay than if it's like a stupid laundry list song that then has like a hip-hop beat. It's like, okay, well, that's just a bunch of shit. Like, you're not going to get a pass there.
Well, that's like that. Like when I was listening to "Kinda Don't Care," but leading into this, I started off. I was like, this isn't half bad, and then it obviously got a little worse. But I was thinking that because I was like, he's probably one of the better bad people on the radio right now. Like, he at least has authenticity in his voice and in a lot of his sound. Occasionally, there's some crappy hip hop beat kind of comes through. Like that song with Brantley Gilbert, "More Middle Fingers," is just atrocious.
Oh yeah,
that song
that is real bad.
Yeah, and so like that one, when it started, I was like, oh god, like I was like, oh, I'll like this one because it's like, screw PC culture, we just need more middle fingers or whatever. And then it started, and I was like, I can't even listen to this. It's bad. But like even his older songs, even like how pandery they were, how just laundry list they were, they just very authentic sounding. Like his music has never been obviously other than the exceptions I'm saying, his music has always sounded very authentic. So he's one of the more authentic mainstream people out there, even if he's not like, he's not George Strait, but he's not a Cody Jinks or whatever, but he's still like, he's a better bad person.
Exactly.
Or bad artist.
I think the take that I was arriving at was essentially like, if you're listening to mainstream country, like, you'd rather have a Justin Moore coming on than most of the other stuff that will come on the radio. Like, even though it's still kind of dumb, like, I'd rather have that song by a song by Justin Moore come on, because I know it's going to at least be more tolerable, or like at least pretty decent kind of sound.
He's one of those artists that if I meet someone and I'm like, oh, what's your favorite music? They go, oh, I love country. And then I go, oh yeah, really? Who do you listen to? And then like if someone's like, oh, I love Gooch, I'm like, come on, that's not. But if someone's like, oh, my favorite is Justin Moore, I'm like, all right, I'll accept that, I guess. Like, I would love if someone obviously came up to me and was like, "Oh, my favorite's Cody Jinks and Whitey Morgan." Like, hell yeah, you're my best friend
Exactly.
now. But yeah, if someone's like, "Oh yeah, I love country music. I listen to the radio all the time. Justin Moore's my favorite." I'm like, all right, fine. I'll
Yeah,
let you
because
have
that at
one, I
least
guess.
then would lead. Yeah, it would at least then lead to the follow up question of like, okay, well, what are your favorite songs? Because then if they're just like, oh man, I love that, need more middle fingers, I'd be like, okay, well, you're
Yeah.
kind of dumb, but I will at least allow it.
Yeah, I mean, whenever we do a Brantley Gilbert episode, I'll probably reiterate this story. But I still remember when I was out there a while ago, and we were in Boozy's getting ready to do some karaoke, and this guy, he just got done singing a Justin Moore song, and he came off the stage, and I think I went up and sang something, and then he started talking to me after, and he goes, "Yeah, the best guy in country music right now is Brantley Gilbert." I'm like, okay. Whatever, dude. Like, I was just like, oh, right. you think what you want, man. But yeah, because Brantley Gilbert fans are like ravenous. Like that's gonna. Oh God, we'll probably get a lot of hate for that episode whenever we do it because they are very loyal fans.
Oh, that'll be a great one too because I'll probably, well, not probably. I know I'll just make fun of the overuse of motorcycles in his stage performance and then just also in everything. And we'll probably get a lot of hate mail from bikers saying, "You try to disrespect us." I'm like, no, man, like, do your own thing. But just, his show was stupid.
Yeah. But I'll say, when I saw him open for Toby Keith at Country Thunder, he was actually really good because he even sang songs from his first CD, the Modern Day Prodigal Son. Yeah. So I did like him the first time I saw him, but yeah. Anyway, this isn't Brantley Gilbert. This is Justin Moore.
Yeah. So let's get into the top five.
Get our favorites going. Yeah. So this is a new thing we've started doing. If you are a new listener or if you've only been listening for a little bit, we kind of wanted to. Like when we did our Eric Church episode first, we went through his whole discography and named songs upon songs from each one. Same with like Brad Paisley and stuff. So we wanted to go through artists from now on and just give like a top 5 or 10 of songs you should be listening to, whether they're not they're singles. We usually try getting obviously the beach sides, but it's really just like our favorite songs by artists.
Did you say beach sides?
Maybe.
Beach sides.
I didn't mean to, but yeah. They're best B sides.
That's an even better description for the B sides, though, because they're beaches. They're great.
Yeah. Something everyone loves. Or should. Anyway, yeah, So yeah, we kind of do like a top 5 or 10. These are the songs that we like. We'll even post them on social media later, and just so everyone can see, and then we'll add them to our playlists and stuff. So these are like the songs that we think, even if it's an artist we don't particularly like, even though we do kind of like Justin Moore and all that. It's just even like Kevin has said before, we'll give any artist a listen to prove to us that they're kind of worth. I mean, not that our opinion's better than anyone else's, but like kind of worth listening to us. And so, like,
or even the bad people, because I'm a believer in like you got to know what you're hating. And
yeah, exactly.
If anyone's a new listener, you'll realize that I am a very hateful person on a lot of artists. But like we said, like we talked about briefly, the Rascal Flatts album, which is absolute garbage. But I gave it a listen so that I could proudly and confidently say, yeah, no, that was a giant pile of shit.
Yeah, like, I mean, granted, I've only ever made it through about 30 seconds of each Sam Hunt song, but I have listened to them enough to know I can definitively say he is not a country artist. I don't give a shit what people say that, oh, there's many definitions of country. No, there's not. That is not country music. And I will say that till the day I die. But anyway, yeah, so our top 5 Justin Moore songs. Number 5.
Yeah. Number 5. On my number 5, I did Flying Down a Back Road. So like I was saying earlier, had to make sure I put out my little precursor thing. Flying Down a Back Road is a very laundry list song with the lyrics. It's, he says, flying down a back road, splash a Jack in my Coke, just like, all of the typical things that you would hear in a country song. But I really liked the sound of that song and the fact that it came out in 2011 and we would drive out to Plano a bunch with the windows down and
we were literally driving gravel roads.
Yeah, we're literally flying down back roads to get to Plano to then go to a party and hang out at a bonfire or whatever. So that song still to me represents that thought and that feeling and that memory. And so, to me, I have to put that as part of my top 5, even though, again, I will put the, asterisk that it is a very laundry list song. If you listen to the lyrics, you're like, wow, the song's kind of dumb. But it has a really good sound, and I do still really enjoy listening to that song.
Yeah, it's definitely one, I think even if it comes on still today, I won't skip it. It's a very laundry list song, but it's just such a happy, relaxing, carefree song that I do enjoy listening to it. Most laundry list songs that I hate, it's because it's just this crappy pandering party song, but that is just kind of a relaxing summer song. So yeah, I do agree that I do like that song. My number 5, it was actually from his Off the Beaten Path CD, is Country Radio. It's a very happy, upbeat song, even though obviously we don't listen to country radio, but it's just a really happy song. And so it's an upbeat one. It's always on my feel-good list. So it's just one that I enjoy. I can just jam out to. It has it's another song where it doesn't have too much merit to it. It's not a great written song. It's nothing like that, but it's just really entertaining. So I do listen to that one a lot. Or when I'm listening to my feel-good if it comes on. But yeah.
Yeah, fair. Number 4, continuing my trend of songs that kind of sound dumb, but I like them. My number 4 is Small Town USA, which is a song that most people who have listened to Justin Moore have heard because it was his first big hit. But, like I said, when Small Town USA was released, I was still at home living in a small town in USA. Elburn, Illinois is a small town. It was 4,000 people when I was growing up and when I was there. And so...
And now it's 3,000 after Eurotech. Kevin.
Yep. Everyone left. But no, so I was, when I think about it, I think about... I was in high school and it came out and it made sense. And even though his version of Small Town USA is very southern, I still, relate to it and it still makes me think of home. And so there's a lot of that to it that I like. And again, the music is still really good. So even if you're ignoring the words, you're still going to enjoy the sound of the track. And so that's what I really like. And then he name drops David Allan Coe, so that's always awesome.
You would. My number 4 is If Heaven Wasn't So Far Away.
Okay,
obviously that's
one. A good one.
If you're a Justin Moore fan, you know this song. It's just pretty much if heaven wasn't so far away, we'd go visit my dead grandpa. I'd go see these kids who died from my class. I'd go see my old dog. Just this thing. It's just I wish I could see all these people who passed away, but heaven is just too far away for us to go see them type thing. And it's just a really sweet song. And I remember when we saw this one live, when he opened for Eric Church, he turned down all the lights and just had the cell phones light the arena, and it was so cool looking, and it was just kind of a really cool moment for that song. And I always think of that when I hear that song, and it's just a really good heartfelt song.
Yeah, that's a song that I do still like, but I kept that one off my top 5 because when I think of that song, I also immediately think of the fact that he not legitimately released, but it was out on YouTube. There was the song.
Oh yeah, it's an unreleased
Heaven
track.
But there's Heaven Ain't That Far Away. So if Heaven Wasn't So Far Away is on Outlaws Like Me, and Heaven Ain't That Far Away is just a non-released track that I listened to on YouTube, but I heard that one first. And so then when this album came out and that wasn't on it, but then he had a song that was Heaven, If Heaven Wasn't So Far Away, it there was a part of me that was just the fuck? Like, you released a song saying it's not that far away, and like describing how heaven's all these things that are great in life now, and then he released a song actually on the album, Heaven's Too Far Away. I'm like, what the hell, man? And so, although I do like both of those songs, and If Heaven Wasn't So Far Away is a good song, I kept it off just because I was like, I don't know how to pick between those two, because they're conflicting ideas, and I like both of them. So I was like, I'm just going to ignore having to worry about that at all.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Numero tres.
Number three. My number 3 is Outlaws Like Me. And it's, again, like it has a laundry list feel, because the crux of it is the whole idea of, I'm a country person and an outlaw for certain reasons, but it's more of a heartfelt song, I feel, and I think it's got, like, as far as sound, I think it's got some of the best sound and music in that entire album, almost. And I still really so this is another song that I still do listen to, like, today. Like, I don't often go and search Justin Moore and listen to his stuff, but if it's included on, like, a playlist or whatever, like, this is one that I would still keep included on playlists, because I still do like it a lot.
Yeah, the one thing, obviously, that's kind of dumb about this song, and I think I even saw in some reviews, is it's like, you can't call yourself an outlaw. Like, it's like giving yourself a nickname. You can't do it.
Well, but you can't call yourself an outlaw and then also be signed to a major record deal.
Yeah, well, that's actually one of the things, I guess it's a little off topic, but I saw this thing about how Steve Earle was talking about how outlaws are just misrepresented now. It's like, people think outlaw means like you're a drug addict and you're just in and out of jail and stuff. It's like, no, that's not what it was. Outlaws, they were outlaws because they wanted to record their own music. They wanted to have artistic freedom. And when you're a slave to your label who's doing what your label says, you can't be an outlaw. Like Brantley Gilbert, you're not an outlaw because you listen to what your label tells you to do.
Yeah, and it's like that much more ironic that he releases Outlaws Like Me as a song, and then also like the title track to this album, and then immediately afterwards he only writes like 3 songs on the next album.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, granted, Merle and Waylon and all them, they didn't write all their own songs, but at least they did the songs they wanted to. And if someone told them differently, like, no, go fuck yourself. Like, I'm gonna do this. But yeah, it is a song. I do like it. It missed out on my top 5 purely because I was like the irony and like, oh, I'm an outlaw, but I'm not.
Yeah, and I 100% recognize that. I just, I fall back on the music and the feel to it. It still is a good song.
Yeah, my number 3. It's a big old country cliche, but it's a good song. Is Grandpa. Like, it's
and that is a good song. I 100% agree.
Yeah, and it's like, it's such a cliche, obviously, like, to say, oh, my grandpa is my inspiration. Like, it's such a country cliche these days, but it's just such a wonderfully written song, because it's not like my grandpa listened to Hank. It's like, here's my grandpa's personality, and here's how it kind of shaped me and made me who I am. Because like, I think we've talked about this before. Like, there's a difference between saying like, I think it was when we were talking about the Stubborn One by Trace Adkins. Yeah, it's not a song that. There's a difference between having a song that's like, these were my grandpa's interests, so this is why these are my interests. It's more of a, this is who my grandpa was, and that's kind of what shaped my personality. That's a very big difference in songs, and that's kind of what his grandpa song does. It talks about like my grandpa, he did this and that, and so I kind of love him for that, instead of being like, my grandpa listened to Hank, so I listened to Hank. Like,
and especially with this song being on his first album, which was all written by him, and he was trying to break into country music. Like, you can tell the personal feel to it. Like, that he's writing this song about his grandpa. It's not a song that was written by some other guy, and he's just like, oh, I like that. Let's just put it on the album, kind of thing. Like
it's like I like my grandpa too.
yeah. Like you can tell that he wrote it for his grandpa. There's a couple lines in that song that I think are great. I love that he says that his grandpa's 5'6" to the top of his hat. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But then also like when he mentions like I'll always be thankful that you never sold the farm. Like that's a thing that I think is really awesome because he's talking about his own personal experience, growing up and being able to go to his grandparents' farm. And so even though that sounds very cliche, it's still him writing it about something that happened in his life, unless he's just totally lying in this song, which would be ridiculous.
Yeah.
But you can tell the personal nature
grandpa.
of it. But yeah, you can tell how personal it is, and that I know. So I agree that is a really good song.
Yeah. Numero dos.
Number 2. My number 2 is Old Habits with features Miranda Lambert, and is a song that we mentioned. Huh?
Who?
Miranda Lambert?
I don't know. Is that the person who won American Idol at one time? Anyway.
What I was going to say was that's a song that we've mentioned before because didn't you have it on one of your lists for breakup songs?
It was gonna be on it, but it was going to be, but it got replaced by another song that's on probably both of our lists, maybe.
Okay. But we mentioned it briefly.
Yeah.
But it's a great song because it's all about like it's after a breakup and he's talking about these habits that old habits die hard, and it's just the things that he used to do, the habits that he was in with this person, and then it's can't do them anymore, trying to get rid of them, and then it's really cool that Miranda Lambert's in it singing as well from her perspective. Like it's a really cool perspective as they're both kind of talking about the difficulty of it, and I just think it's a really that's a legitimately non-laundry listy, just a really actually good song that people should just listen to anyway, regardless of being number ones, non-number ones. This is just an actual good song.
And it's probably one of my favorite country duets ever. Maybe it's up there. It's such an amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, it's such an amazing song. And it's also surprising that it comes from his third CD. I mean, it's not surprising, but it is because it's surprising that he would have a song that deep. Once he's kind of made it, because he's never been known for being the one who has all these really deep songs, but at the same time it's not surprising because now that he was in his third CD, he already had a couple number ones under his belt. He has the pull to get a powerhouse like Miranda Lambert to sing on a track with him, whereas on his first CD he might not have been able to pull off having Miranda Lambert sing with him. So that was but that's an amazing song. It's actually my number 2 as well because it's an amazing song. It is one that I legitimately do listen to. I don't all the time, but I sometimes go out of my way just to put it on because it's an amazing song. And if you have, which I'm sure everyone has gone through a breakup at some point, if you have, it hits you home. It hits home. Oh yeah, it hits you.
And I don't know because like we've said a million times, we don't listen to the radio ever. But I don't know if this song actually charted or anything. I feel like it should have, based on the fact that Miranda Lambert was featured in it. But I have no idea. So I don't even know if this is one that is everyone already knows it. But to me, it's this would be one that you should listen to. And it's not in his top 5 on Spotify, so I have no idea if it charted or not, or became a huge deal or whatever. But if this is something that you haven't listened to before, but you've heard of Justin Moore, this is a great one to check out to see this other side of his music that exists.
I was gonna say I just looked it up, but I was gonna say I don't think it is because I remember seeing it in an article once. It was just a track you should have listened, because I know this is one thing I do like about Whiskey Riff is that they do post B-side tracks that are you should be listening to this song by this artist, and I know they did do that for Old Habits. It was if you've been through a breakup, this is going to hit you hard. And I looked it up, and it was never a single.
I did see that. I saw that article, but I did not read it.
It wasn't a single. I just looked up his discography on Wikipedia. Yeah, I don't know if that's
Wikipodiatrist.
Wiki. God damn it. Wikipedia. Oh my god, that'd be a great website name, Wikipedia Lite. It's just Wikipedia, but has less on it, and it's also a hangover thing somehow. Anyway.
Well, I have to conjecture that this probably
both have
means
the
that
same
our
number one?
our number one song definitely is both Run Out of Honky Tonks, if I had to guess.
Oh no, mine was Back That Thing Up.
That is also mine. I was trying to throw you off track.
Just testing me? Oh, you. But no, yeah, both of our song, yeah, it's definitely Run Out of Honky Tonks. Yes.
Yeah, and we've discussed this because we both had it included on, or did you have it included on one of your lists, or was it just me?
Yeah,
I don't remember.
It was on my breakup one, I think.
Okay.
It might have been on Moving On, but I think it was breakup.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So this is a song we've mentioned in a previous podcast, but if you haven't listened to that, we'll talk about it a little bit again. But it's a great song. It's a breakup, and the whole thing is he's driving to new towns and drinking at new bars so that he can essentially, be sad and down and drink his pain away in new places where no one knows him, and so he can just kind of be alone. But everywhere he goes, he can't get the memory away, and so then the whole line is like, what if I run out of honky tonks before your memory is gone?
Yeah,
I just think it's a really awesome song.
He's trying to outrun / outdrink her memory, but the line is bartender set him up. If she's gonna be here, might as well stay drunk. So it's he got away, but she quote unquote followed him to the bar her memory followed him to the bar. So and so every bar he's gone to, it's like, well, if she's here, she's going to be there again. So it's like, what if I run out of places to go and you're still on my mind type thing. So what if I run out of honky tonks? And yeah, it's oh god, it's an amazing song.
It's actually remember
I read the review for the CD again on Saving Country Music while getting ready for the CD, and he said that was it was the one, because he called it the worst album ever, but he said that it was the one saving grace off the CD. I was like, yeah, you better not shit talk this song, because this song is amazing.
Yeah, and the other thing about it that's kind of cool is that it's definitely a song about a breakup, but it's also not it's not super slow. It's upbeat enough that when you listen to it, if you weren't paying attention, you might think he's just some dude trying to go out on an amazing bender, and he's worried about running out of bars to go to. But it's such a sad song, but it's got this up-tempo, upbeat sound to it, and the sound is really great. And so I just think it's a tremendous song. This is definitely a song that I still listen to quite often here and there, because it really is great.
Yeah, this one regularly comes on my Spotify. This is, I think, the third or fourth time we've mentioned it on the podcast, because we talked about it during the breakup songs, and then we also talked about it during our drinking songs podcast. We've talked about this song a lot. It is legitimately one of my favorite songs out there. It is. This song, I remember the summer it came out, I was seeing someone, and when it all went to shit, this CD had just come out, and I remember driving down a back road with Dan, and he'd throw this on and he goes, hey, is this what it feels like? I'm like, I hate you. And yeah, that song fit, and I became obsessed with it. And I still remember, like I've said before, we were sitting in the Oasis pre-gaming upstairs in your place, and we threw it on because we're like, fuck it, this song's amazing. Let's listen to it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not so slow and sad that you couldn't listen to it while you were still also listening to happy songs. And that's what we talked about on the Drinking Songs podcast. But it's my favorite Justin Moore song, your favorite Justin Moore song, and I think definitely, it's his best because of all of the things that we mentioned with it. It's got a little bit of the laundry list in terms of it's a used idea of try to drink someone's pain, drink the pain away kind of idea.
But that's also a very
done
real
in a really,
feeling.
yeah, and it's done in a new way, and so it's just really good.
Yeah, I don't really think, though, kind of thinking about it, I don't think drinking someone off your mind is really a cliche for country music, because that's something everyone does. That's not really a country, that's not like a southern boy, small town thing that people do. That's just a thing people do.
True. That is very true, except for I feel like country has that, they have that cornered in terms of
Oh, yeah.
having a lot of songs about it. Like, you could listen to rap songs all day and not hear a single song about drinking pain away, but if you listen to the radio for an hour, you will hear at least one song from that perspective.
Unless it's like Eminem.
True, but Eminem's also just legitimately awesome.
Yeah, very true. But yeah, so that's our top 5. If anyone, like, I've tweeted them out. I remember when we tweeted out Sam Outlaws, he retweeted it, and people started giving their top 5s and stuff, and
that was
that's
awesome.
really cool. So yeah, so when we put this up on social media, just comment on it, say what songs by Justin Moore you really like, and I don't know, call us an idiot for saying Back That Thing Up is a bad song. I don't care.
Yeah, and that's actually what I wanted to say quickly was that I remember even back when his first album came out, I back then even thought that Back That Thing Up was just a pile of shit.
Oh, yeah.
So even that one was crap back then. It's crap now. It's just crap.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's some songs on there that we used to like even I Could Kick Your Ass, we loved that song, but looking back at it, it's like, that's a bad song.
It's still stupid, but like that's also still one that, like, if it came on, I'd be like, all right, I'm cool with this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, as we've talked, our inhibitions die down a little bit when we're drunk, so we can listen to a lot more. Bad songs.
Yeah, I would say that I'd say that his first album would be very awesome to listen through while drunk again. Like, I would listen to How I Got to Be This Way. I very much enjoy that song, but it's still kind of dumb.
That one barely missed out on my top 5. Actually, I really like that song.
Yeah, well, I think it's great because it's like we were saying, like, it feels more authentic because he's writing it from his own perspective. But it's also still a song just about, here's all these country things that have happened to me, and that's how I got to be this way. And it's like, okay, so you're just telling everyone how country you are, aren't you? Okay, cool.
Yeah. But yeah, like, I mean, I know one song that you kind of have a soft spot for that I don't really like is Hank It. Like,
yeah, and that's
you
that's
like that
one
song, and I think it's just dumb.
Yeah, well, because me and Jay used to jam out to that song all the time. Just it's really dumb. It's really stupid, but I don't know.
Who's Jay?
It's shout out to Jay. He's in London, so he's definitely not listening right now.
What?
Well, not right now, obviously, because we're recording it right now,
yeah,
and no one's listening except for me and you. But he probably won't listen to it for a while.
Yeah, well, he should download it.
We used to jam to that
Playphone.
song. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but that's a
cool.
song that's really dumb. But I got a soft spot for it. But I will 100% acknowledge how dumb it is.
Yeah. Well, because he says spank it. Anyway.
I know, but it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, so that's our opinion on Justin Moore. Yeah, so overall,
that's how we feel about Justin Moore. Yeah.
If we had to sum it up, we like him. We don't think he's great, but he's definitely on the better of the mainstream that the radio pushes down your throat. He's definitely someone who I don't hate when someone says they're a fan of him, because I know, like, Adam, our buddy from Plano, he's a giant Justin Moore fan, so he might disagree with us saying that all his songs are good or something. I don't know, but but yeah, like, he's definitely not someone we hate. I've never, and of course Justin Moore himself, I feel like he's probably a really good person. So it's not like, we hate anything about that.
And I have no reason. I have no reason to dislike him as a person. He's done nothing to make me feel that way. It just his music has gotten the general trend has been towards just being way more lame as he's gone. But he's also one that I would not be surprised who will, releases another album and has, a couple hidden gems on it that are really good that get me, to listen and save those songs and like them in the future. Like, he's not a lost cause at all, I would say.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's all we really have to say about him. Going on to next week's albums, or actually they came out yesterday because we didn't record yesterday.
Damn it.
Yeah, we done fucked up. Lady Antebellum had a new CD come out. I don't know when the last CD by them was. I checked out of them after their first CD. So they have a CD called Heartbreak that came out. I just don't really care about that. Glenn Campbell had his CD Adios come out, so I'm going to assume it's his last CD.
Well, he's got Alzheimer's, so It's either adios as in I'm done, or adios as I can't remember shit anymore, it's all gone.
Adios to my own memories. And then Ray Scott, Guitar for Sale, came out. I'll have to listen to that one because I love Ray Scott. He's
Ray Scott's
artist.
awesome. I definitely will be checking that one out.
Yeah. And then lastly but not leastly, Jason Cassidy's self-titled album, Jason Cassidy, came out. So I'll have to definitely check that one out as well. Yeah, Jason Cassidy's a great Texas artist for anyone who's never listened to him before.
We are Jason Cassidy fans.
Yeah. But anyway, for last week's CDs that came out, we could first go into Brian Davis's Raise 'Em Up Right Now EP. It was alright. For anyone who doesn't know who he is, he co-writes a lot of Brantley Gilbert songs. He opened for him, I guess. You told me when we saw him.
He did open up for him. He opened up for him, so we have technically seen him. He was just played acoustic, but we did technically see him. Yeah, well, the thing that we felt then, which is still the thing that I feel about him now, is that when he was playing, he just sounded like he was trying really hard to sound like Brantley Gilbert. And so the problems that exist with his music is when he does go for that style of just trying to sound like Brantley Gilbert. Cause it's
there's a couple off the CD where he sings, he tries sounding like him when he's singing, and it's not great. But the songs I liked off of it were "I'm All In" and "Grandpa's Last Bottle of Jack." Those were two actually well written, good, slower songs. And then
Grandpa's Last Bottle of Jack was the only one that I saved.
Yeah, the other one that I like, it was I remember telling you this when we were listening to it. It's not a great song, but it's one that I wouldn't hit next to if we were drinking. It's Sandbar Junkie. It was a dumb song, but it was just kind of upbeat, and it's one I would listen to when drinking.
Having yet to listen to that song when drinking, I'm still of the opinion that song was bad.
Yeah,
but if you play it and I'm drinking, I probably would feel the same way. But it was I don't know. It sounded.
It came on while I was driving home from work and the windows were down, and I was like, "Yeah, this sounds pretty good." It's just cruising down the road with the windows down, cruising down 47. It was pretty good. It's not a quality song by any standards, but it's entertaining. Next is 1,000 Horses Bridges. The only song I really saved off it was Blaze of Something, because it's just I'm gonna go out in a blaze of something, and it was just kind of a goofy song. It's on my upbeat kind of playlist, my feel good playlist, because it's just a good. Actually, I saved a couple of them, actually, now that I think of it. But that's the one that really stuck out to me that I enjoyed listening to. I've never minded 1,000 Horses, but... Yeah,
I felt, to me, that it was... I listened through it straight through, and nothing was really standing out, but I also wasn't having, a problem with anything. So it felt to me with a couple extra listens, I might be able to pick out a couple that I'm like, oh, yeah, no, I actually do like this song or whatever. But, to me, it was just kind of I just gave it a middle of the road, it was okay because I enjoyed it, but nothing made me stop and be like, yes, this is a great song, I gotta save this and play it again.
Yeah, the only problem I had with the CD was that the last half of the CD was just an acoustic, or not an acoustic, a live set.
Live. And I didn't listen to any of the live stuff. I just stopped once the recording stuff had stopped. Or the studio stuff.
I just don't like when people make half a CD live songs. If it's a greatest hits thing or if it's a live CD that you're putting out, I don't mind it. But wasting tracks on your CD just by having random live tracks, I don't like that. Especially when when they're only one CD old. It's not a classic.
I looked at this as just an EP. I think it's considering itself a full album because of the amount of tracks. But since so many of those are live,
5 songs.
Yeah, and so since there's only that small handful that are just studio songs, I was like, no, this is basically just an EP with a bunch of live stuff. So I stopped listening to it once the live stuff happened.
Yeah, I didn't realize there was only 5. But anyways, speaking of another kind of CD that it was good, but nothing really stood out to me was Jeff Hobbs' Upward. It was a it was so good. Like, he's super talented, but yeah, none of the songs really were like, oh, this is an amazing song I'm gonna listen to a lot. It was just like, yeah, that was a good CD.
The same way. I was the same way. I would say I would recommend people check it out because I thought while I was listening to it that it was good. But it was the same way. Like, I don't even know if I saved any songs because I was just kind of like
one.
listening, and I'm like, okay.
I saved the song "The Sun Was Going Down." I think it was if I remember right, it's a really upbeat song, and it was like a good kind of drinking song. I think that's what I saved at least. But yeah, we don't really have much to say about them. It was a really good CD. It's just nothing was like it wasn't like mind blowing. But speaking of blowing, I don't know if that works, but Wheeler Walker Jr.'s old Wheeler.
Wheeler. So Wheeler Walker is an interesting guy because of the fact that when
he's not a person.
Well, I mean, yeah, he's an alter ego of a comedian. That's the other thing. So I feel like people should definitely be reminded of that this is a guy who is doing satire and he is a comedian, and that's the whole point. And so, like, I remember when you were, I sent a long time ago, like, the screenshot of his older song called "Better Off Beaten Off," and your response was that you just, like, absolutely hated Wheeler Walker Jr. And I'm like, why? And it's because, well, obviously, every song that he has is, like, vulgar. Like, he's swearing, he's talking about, getting laid and, like, just very graphic descriptions of a bunch of things, and I understand not liking it because of, like, well, I don't want to listen to this dude talk about pussy, like, repeatedly. However, the fact that it is all satire, like, it's really well done satire.
Like, they're well written and they sound good, but yeah, it just gets old. Like, even this CD, after one listen through, I was just, or like even halfway through the CD, I was just like, I'm over it. Like, it's funny, it's well written, but I just don't care. It's not I'll give it to a lot.
I'll give it that there are more than half
like
of the songs
on
shock,
it. The shock value just kind of goes.
Yeah, I would say about half the album I'd give it the, like, you can listen to it once, laugh, and then it's kind of whatever. But there are still, like, songs on it that I do like a lot. Like the Summers in Kentucky song, I think is probably the best song on it. It only really has, like, one segment where he goes, like, really vulgar, and the rest of it still just sounds like kind of like a legitimate country song. So, like, I still like that song a lot. The song "Fucking Around" I think is hilarious, that also just a good song.
Yeah, that one genuinely did make me laugh out loud when I was at work. That one was really fucking funny.
And, like, that's a song that I saved it, and, like, I will probably listen to that song a lot going forward. Just, like, I liked that song. Like, it wasn't just, this is a good satire, so that was funny the one time. Like, no, I will keep listening to that song. It was pretty funny.
Well, and it's really funny because that song, I was, like, reading about it. It says it's sang by Wheeler Walker Jr. and Kacey Walker, like, quote-unquote, his wife, but it turns out that it's, like, Lauren Elena or whatever, or Nikki Lane or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it's Nikki Lane.
But yeah, it was, that did make me laugh that she's on the track as Kacey Walker, but it's just her.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there are some that are like they were like funny one time through, but I was just kind of done with them. Like "Finger Up My Butt's kind of funny, and just like the line, "If my dick is up, why am I down?" Like, it's just like I understand where, like, people find the humor in them, but it just got old really fast for me, and I was just like, your whole shtick is your vulgar.
Yeah, I won't deny it that there's a lot of it that it'll get old, but like I said, like "Summers in Kentucky" and "Fucking Around" are legitimate songs that I would listen to. Like, I think they're great.
Yeah. But I don't really... Yeah, so if you're into Old Wheeler, then listen to Old Wheeler by Wheeler Walker. Yeah, it's I guess it's worth a listen through, but yeah, it gets old pretty fast if the vulgarity is whatever. Then lastly, but not leastly, the one that we've probably been looking forward to since we started the podcast, and well before we started it, was Luke Combs' first CD, This One's For You, finally came out.
Yes, it did.
Mixed reviews, I guess
mixed.
you could say.
Yeah, well, so I think the first thing we got to do with it is break it apart between what had come out already
the EP
on the
and
This
then
One's
the new.
For You EP, which, another side note, really it bugs me that he named it the exact same thing.
Yeah, just took
That
out the
he's
EP
got it.
part of it.
Exactly. That really bugs me because, I don't know, it's just, especially, like, it's got all the exact same songs from that EP, and then he just names the album
Except for
and
the
then
one-
just puts the other songs on there.
Yeah, except for the one, actually, the best track from the EP he didn't have on there. He didn't have "Used to You," which is the best song from that EP.
Yes, and that's the other thing that bugged me about it.
Hurricane, but yeah,
yeah, no, that song was the best one. "Used to You" is the best song from the EP.
I know. I'm saying
Didn't
unless your
include it on the
favorite is
album.
Hurricane.
Yes, yeah, but yeah, and then the fact that Hurricane, it's just just funny that it's charting now as a number one, but the single was released way back in I don't know, like a year, 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. And so then that got included on the EP, and then it's included on this album, and so it's like, I don't know. Didn't feel like a total album to me, since it's all these songs that we've been listening to for a while. So there's those. So like the songs that were on the This One's For You EP that I liked, I still like. I'm not going to obviously just start not liking it. But I did not feel like I wasn't feeling the new ones. Like the new songs that he added, I don't know. Like there was some selling outness that I was feeling, and there was just like this. I don't know. I wasn't feeling it. Like the One Number Away song, I really don't like. Like I just really don't like it. It's like a fast paced singing, which is almost like borderline talking at points that I really hate, and like the last song on it, Honky Tonk Highway, is just like I don't know, it's just stupid.
I don't know.
I like the lyrics
that one grew
to
on
some
me.
of them. I like the lyrics to some of them. Like When It Rains, It Pours, I think is a well written song because it's about
Just like
how
just like I'll
things
never
are
have to
going
see my
well.
ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, the relationship ends, and then instead of when it rains, it pours, like as in like bad shit keeps happening, it's just all this good shit keeps happening. So I like it in that respect, but it felt like a song that I had heard before. You know, like all of it just sounded like stuff that had been done before. So to me, it just kind of seemed like I'm gonna try to put all these safe filler songs.
Yeah, I was gonna say it felt like a safety album where it was just like he wanted to get his CD out, so he had to put new songs on it, and they're all just very safe songs where he didn't try anything new with them. It was all just kind of already written. But the song that I will disagree that I love is the song "Lonely One." I think that song is really good. I actually like Honky Tonk Highway. It's just kind of a good upbeat song, and it sounds kind of old school, but yeah, like the other ones, I understand. Huh?
I would say I agree with you. Only my song that I would pick that I say I think is actually a good song is "I Got Away with You."
Yeah,
instead
that's another
of
good one.
saying "Lonely One," because "Lonely One," and we talked about it off air about how it's another one of those songs that has a weird sound to it that bugs me, and then I can't get past it. But I do respect the lyrics, and I like the lyrics, and it's not a bad song. It's a good song, but it still just was like, it stayed at good to me.
Yeah. So, I mean, even though Kevin and I have been huge Luke Combs fans for a couple years now, obviously it's kind of a bad sign of he has the ability to sell out now because
I've prepared myself to no longer be a fan. Basically,
yeah,
how I feel now.
He's really talented. He has like, it's not obviously on par with Chris Stapleton, but he has like the same Chris Stapleton-ish voice of just like, he has a very unique voice, a really good voice, and it could be completely abused to sing crap songs. And it is it's kind of scary that could happen. This just popped in my head. Did you see the Farce the Music's like honest CD names or whatever that they posted?
No.
They had it was just like honest CDs, and like they had Walker Hayes's, and it was just like the Sam Hunt ripoff, and or a poor man Sam Hunt, and then They had Luke Combs's, and the CD, instead of called "This One's for You," it's called "Girl Singers Can't Look This Average."
That is pretty funny.
Yeah, it was really funny, but yeah, like, so I'm still a fan. Yeah, I do feel like he played it safe with this CD. But the one thing I read, I can't remember who said it. I don't think it was in a review. I think I just saw a comment that said it. It was just like, he is the better of the mainstream out there, no matter what like this sounds like. So if you are listening to the radio and a Luke Combs song comes on, I'm going to be a lot happier than if I hear, you know, a Gooch song or whatever come on, like, or a Kane Brown. Like, I'm going to feel a lot better hearing Luke Combs come on. So he is better for the mainstream than worse, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, he does more good than harm with his music being mainstream now. So I do like that for it, but yeah, it did show a little dent in the armor when this CD came out. It's just like, I guess. But like I said before, he's had bad songs on all of his EPs already, so it's not too surprising that he has bad songs on this one too. Because like I said, Can I Get an Outlaw and The Way She Rides are both fucking atrocious songs. And like, so hearing bad songs off this CD is not like super surprising.
Yeah, I'm basically just kind of like, you know, like I said, like I'm mentally prepared to just be like, yep, no, fuck this guy, because I feel like with the release of this album and the way that the songs that were added feel like either filler songs or just kind of shitty, like I just anticipate his next album not being good, you know, like I don't see his follow-up to this going to be like, now I'm going to show that I can be real country now that my name's out there. I think it's definitely going to be, now that my name's out there, I'm going to sell out super hard because I'm going to make a shit ton of money. And I don't blame him, because if I could do that, I would. But I just think like that's definitely where he's going to be going in terms of trajectory of music. And so that, like, it gets an extra, like, harsh review from me, like, because of that, like, the setup and like the way I can see it.
Because you know he could be better.
Exactly. Like, I know that he's really talented, and the fact that this is what he decided to go with is just kind of like, well, come on, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So. Yeah. I know we like saying that the only way you can rate it is best or country or not country, but it's so hard for me to rate this one way or the other because the highs are high and the lows are low, so it's kind of hard to rate it. But it's I'll go with it's good. It's not great.
I give it decent.
Yeah. It's not mind blowing. Like we were obviously we were hoping that the CD would be like the next I'm Not the Devil, but like that's obviously not gonna. That's not the case. But then again, we like Hurricane, which a lot of traditionalists hate because it is kind of a laundry listy song and it does have weird sounds to it. But we love that song. So
and the message of it and the lyrics of it I like a lot. Even though like again it has the laundry list elements to it, but like I don't know, it gets the same pass as, you know, the Justin Moore songs of when I heard this song he was not famous at all and I liked it. And so I still like it now that he is super famous because I still liked it. You know, I liked it back then, and just him getting famous is not going to just make me not like this song. However, going forward, he might release a bunch of other songs that become super popular that I'm like, nope, fuck that shit.
Yeah. Anyway, wait, I just realized, did we ever talk about Kacey Musgraves? I don't remember.
Did we ever talk about Kacey Musgraves?
At the start. That was one of the things we were going to talk about. Did we talk about that? I forgot.
Oh, no, we didn't.
How she's opening for Harry Styles, and that's weird.
Yeah, random plug. She's opening for Harry Styles, and we don't know what the fuck that means.
Yeah, who's a One Direction erection guy. But yeah, I forgot we were going to mention that when we never did. Who cares? Have you been listening to anything different than what we've...
Actually, yeah, so when I was driving, I drove back to Chicago and then back out to Davenport. I revisited, I was listening to Cody Jinks because he's amazing, But what I was listening to specifically was I went to the YouTube machine, and I was listening through the collector's item album that's not like released or on anything, but you can find it out there on the internet, and just reminding myself of how that's like really good, and I really want him to release the song Lost Highway onto an actual album or EP or something, because I love that song.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I've just been listening to my Feel Good playlist because I'm at that point now.
Why don't you plug more of your playlist, you bastard?
I was more of saying why than what playlist. I think it has like 3 followers, and it's been 3 followers for like 2 years. But no, I was just saying because I'm at that point where I just don't give a fuck anymore, and it's just like I'm just gonna live my life, and it's summer, and I'm happy, and fuck everyone who's a hater, piece of shit tard. Yeah. So I've been listening to just like happy music. I mean, it's hard to listen to sad music when you're driving with it 90 degrees out and your windows are down. You don't want to listen to sad music when you're doing that. You want to crank up the nice happy music. So that's what I've been listening to, and it's been awesome and felt amazing. And yeah. That's all we really got. So you can check us out online. If you want to catch us on the Facebooks, Twitters, the Instagrams, or the SoundClouds, it's at the Hodgecast. If you want to email us, send us hate mail if you disagree with us, thehodgecast@gmail.com. Spotify playlist for all the songs that we mention on the podcast is Hodge Podcast Picks. If you want to buy shirts, we just added the Hey, is this Eric Church shirt to the store, and that's at tpublic.com/user/Clifftron. My Facebook and Twitter is at Steve Hodge Music, and Kevin's Twitter is at Charchford, spelled how it sounds. That's it. So next week we're gonna be doing Sam Hunt. So
stay tuned.
And so until next week, I'm Steve Hodge, as always, joined by Kevin Hodge, saying goodbye, good night, and good Charlotte.
Love you.